All right, well, our membership count is moving on up. We're about 2 minutes from start.
Razor, have you had any response from the Oklahoma City group over your proposed layout design?
No, they're not that far along yet, Al.
Okay.
But Bruce he's afraid that they're not going to have enough. They're not going to fill up all the space. And so he wants to push them to use the design we have. The deal is if they need it longer and skinnier, we just take this and switch it.
Right.
And they come off the side, we switch our junction corner to the other side and make
That's
it.
the nice thing about being modular. You can adapt to whatever they have.
Yeah, we'll adjust accordingly, but you are bringing your modules. That's a good thing, though. Need those skyscrapers.
Yep.
Hey, everybody, it's 1 o'clock. I'm going to mute. If you need to talk, please unmute yourself. And at the end of the presentation, we will have an opportunity for people to ask questions. So Razor, I'm going to mute, and then it's up to you.
All right. Well,
Razor, you're muted.
I thought I did that, but now I'll do it again. Welcome, everyone, to our July ZoomTRAK meeting. We have 4 presentations today. Our first one will be about detailing roads by Lee Williams in Oklahoma City. Our second presentation will be our vendor presentation by Showcase Miniatures. And Walter and Debbie, I don't know, where are you guys located? You're muted. We'll find out in a minute. Our third presentation is Dick Ollendorf is going to talk about his home layout. It's called Santa Fe Coast to Coast. And our main topic this afternoon will be NTRAK 2.0 by John Wallis. Our next meeting in August will be on August the 14th. We still have openings for presentations there. We're looking for a layout tour and a short topic. We have backup stuff if we need it, but if anyone has anything that they would like to share with us, please give us a shout on the NRail news and the NRail, I can't speak this afternoon, on the NRail website, and we'll try to get you scheduled. As usual, we will ask you to hold all questions until the end of the presentations. If you want to make comments, the chat button, if you bring your cursor down to the bottom, you'll see a chat button just to the left of the green button. And if you click on that, you can type in a message. You can type in a message to a specific individual or to everyone as a group. And then we'll review that at the end of the hour and see what questions there are and go from there. So that being said, let me introduce you to Lee Williams, who is out of the Oklahoma City area with the Oklahoma NRail Club, and he's going to talk about detailing roads.
Okay, let me go into screen share here. Oops, I need the host to enable me to screen share.
You should be good.
Okay, there we go. Okay. My presentation is actually on just how I paint lines on roads. Let me see if it goes into presentation mode here. And try again here.
Just
there we
go
go.
slideshow.
Okay.
There you go.
Yep. Okay. This is on my method of painting lines on roads. There are a number of methods that people have used to put lines on the roads. One is with tape. However, tape is oftentimes too thick and it tends to chip or peel with age. People will use a paintbrush by hand or some kind of a pen, but that's not very precise. And the method I'm going to show you is how to airbrush, using an airbrush for painting lines on roads with masking. This is a picture of my module, and I painted these lines on the road over 25 years ago. And I wrote an article that appeared in the January-February 97 N-Scale magazine about how I painted these lines on the roads. And I took this picture just the last few months earlier this year, and you can see those lines are over 25 years old, and they're still in good shape. Okay, tape widths. First thing was in N-scale, a 32nd of an inch is equal to 5 inches in N-scale. 3/32 would be equal to 15 inches in N-scale, and 1/8 of an inch is equal to 20 inches in N-scale. And one of the feedbacks I got from writing that article was they couldn't find the type of tape I was using. At the time, I was using something called a printed circuit tape, and I'm not even sure I can find that anymore. So I want to make sure that it's available. And I've been using crepe tape, which is flexible, and it allows you to mask curved lines. And it's also available through Amazon. And I'm showing here the 3 widths of tape that I used. On the left is a 32nd of an inch, and then you can see the one in the middle is 3/32 of an inch, and the one on the right is 1/8 of an inch. And these are the 3 widths that I used for making the lines. And as I said, it's available from Amazon. If you do a search on the width, like 1/32 crepe tape or 3/32 crepe tape, you can find it on Amazon. This is a module that I recently, in our club, that I recently painted some lines on. And here's the before picture showing you what the road looked like before we painted any lines on it. Now, the first step I did was to put tape where you want the lines. And so I used the double line. We're going to have a double yellow line down the middle of the road. So I used a 3/32 of an inch, which gives you 2 5-inch lines with a 5-inch space between the lines. And then I did the stop lines before on either side of the track. And I did that with 1/8 inch tape, which gives you a 20-inch wide stop line. And so I just put the tape down where you want the lines to go and use a ruler to get it centered on the road. Then you outline the tape. And by this, I mean I took the 1/8 inch wide tape and taped it along the edge of where I put the other tape. And you can see I did that along the edge of where the double yellow line is going to go. And I did it along either side of the stop line. And the crepe tape is thick enough that you can tape one piece of tape right along the edge of where the other piece of tape was. The next step is you remove the first tape that you put down so that now you've got the gap between the outline tapes that you put on there. And then I took a 1/32 wide tape and taped it down the middle of the gap to mask off where you have your double lines with your yellow lines there. I have the 32nd inch tape centered between the edges of the tape. And then I took some painter's tape and masked along the edge, and I chose not to put the lines going over the track, so I masked off the section there with painter's tape along the edge of the other tape. And if you're taping a curved line, you can easily put the painter's tape over and use an X-Acto knife to cut off on top of the 1/8 inch wide tape along the edge. And then beyond that, I masked it with paper towels to and secured that as paper towels with painter's tape. And that protects the scenery from overspray. And then because this is a NTRAK module, I was able to tilt the module on edge, which lets me airbrush on a vertical surface, which is a much easier way to airbrush. And that's an advantage of a modular railroad over a fixed railroad. And then I finally did the airbrush, and I airbrushed all the lines with white paint. Yellow doesn't cover very well. And to do this painting, you want to put your airbrush in a fairly thin setting, a very light setting, and then do multiple passes with the airbrush in a very light setting to prevent the paint from bleeding under the tape. And then I went and masked the white lines and then airbrushed with the yellow. And this is how it came out after you removed all the masking. And if it looks like those are newly painted lines on the road, that's because they are newly painted lines on the road. And that's about it for my short presentation here.
Thank you, Lee. Let me, that works really well when you're trying to go in there and do something where you already have the layout done and the roads painted. The nice thing is if you do it early before your roads are painted, you can just paint the whole road yellow or white and then put your mask down on top of that and paint the road second.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. I haven't done that, but you can.
That's the Richard Fisher method, Lee.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you very much. Let me see here. There we go. All right. Walter and Amy, are you guys ready to go? Unmute yourself.
Yes.
And we'll turn it over to you for your presentation.
Well, thanks for inviting us to participate in this. This is really our first Zoom meeting, and it looks like it doesn't like to focus on both of us at one time, so we'll be fading in and out. One of us will, but I'll let Debbie kind of give us an introduction.
Well, we're glad to be here and be glad to answer any questions you may have about us and about our products. We have been operating Showcase since 2013. We bought it out in California from Joe Warren and brought it here to Alabama. And it was needing to be, it was needing a lot of new products, just put it that way, to make it go, to make it work, and to make a career out of working with Showcase. We realized we needed to start really adding some new products. So we got busy. It's only the two of us. So it takes us quite some time to bring a product to market. We don't have, we have a couple of employees that work 1 day a week, but otherwise it's just us. So you have to bear with us. I try to answer all questions, and we really strive to be a customer friendly business. And if you need anything, if you have any parts that are not working, or you even mess them up in the build process, just give us a call. We're always glad to help out and replace parts and whatever you need. Even if you need a part out of one kit from one kit and one out of another, I really try to accommodate everybody that I can on that. So we'll get started on the presentation. We already have this screen share. Let's see. Okay, can everybody hear us?
We hear you.
Okay, can you see this? Are you?
No, you're not enabled. Peter, are they screen share enabled yet?
Yes, they should have screen share.
All right, so if you go down to that green button at the bottom and press that.
Okay, let me get out of here and escape.
Yeah.
Okay, right
And
there.
pick what you want to share from your.
That would be that. And then you share,
Okay.
and then you gotta hit. Okay, can everybody see that?
How's that?
It's working perfectly. Go right on.
Okay. Well, good. Well, Debbie's given you a kind of introduction, and we want to talk about a few of the products that seem to be most popular, and we'll start with that. These have been big seller since the beginning. These are some of the model on the left, the R190 is a model I did for Joe Warren some years ago. And when we got Showcase going, we added the Mac cab to the same body. And it's been, again, I think as much model railroad sales as it is people interested in fire trucks as well. So these are some old faithfuls. And this one, as you can see, was a co-winner of the Vehicle of the Year award. This one, we put a lot of detail into this. There's a lot of photo etch involved. It's kind of it's a little bit of a challenge to build, but if you take your time and just patience, and what I've tried to do is add parts so it could be built, deployed or ready for travel. The stainless steel panels can be put on and off. The door panels can be put left on or off. To make a kit that you can display whether it's in operation or just travel mode. And this is our latest release. Just last week, we decided to add a modern pumper to the lineup, and we'll still be working on other vehicles as well. And this one has the same design. It's got panels, stainless steel panels that can be left off if you want to show it deployed and working. The cab and body are resin cast. The chassis and a lot of the detail is cast pewter, just like the rest of our parts. We have an extensive stainless steel etched fret for this model.
We have a parts picture.
Yeah. And one thing we added to this was, one thing that was hard to do with all the trucks that we do is painting the grill so it's got a realistic three-dimensional effect to it. So in this case, we just made a provision so that we can use a stainless steel etched grill for this, and you can paint it or leave it as is, show it as is. And I think this is a parts picture.
We hope to do that with all of our trucks. So eventually add the grills, making it easier for all of our designs. Yeah.
And this was contributed by Drew Horn. I mean, some of you may have seen some of his handiwork. We're really impressed with what he can do with our little trucks, and he has gotten better and better at it.
Yeah. Anyway, he has a website there listed, and you can go and order custom installation. He does a really good job with it.
That's what's current, and that's what we got out right now. Let's see, this is something coming. We've been really trying to extend our signal line. We've been doing that primarily in HO scale, but these are N-scale signal kits that are coming. And we've gone from offering just one single kit for one signal to offering the different components so that you can build your own signals. Like these are not quite ready yet, but they're coming, and they've got 3D printed parts as well as stainless steel photo etch to build up a realistic looking signal. We'll have our own design of LED fixtures to fit in these signals to make it easy to light.
So you'll be able to buy your mast assembly and the head assembly separately to suit your need. Your design is what we hope for.
And this is coming too. This is one that's been coming a long time. We've been talking about an N-scale Class C 3-truck shay. We already, to add to our Class A and B shays in our Climax models. And this one is designed and will be offered in N-scale standard gauge as well as in N3 to run on operate on Z-scale track. But it's designed to operate with our own power trucks that we've commissioned and had designed ourselves. it's possible it could be run on other means as well. But this is a build showing all of the component parts in their native material. It's not painted at all. It's a combination of 3D prints, resin casting, pewter cast, brass etching, and stainless steel etching as well.
And that would be what's in the works and what is recent. Of course, we have so many other things on the website that so many other products through the years that we have developed, but this is kind of the latest, the newest, and I think that's what we want. Everyone wanted to hear. So I think that's it for us.
Yep, that's a preview of what we're working on.
Well, thank you very much. One of the things I'd like to say that I like about your stuff is that for those of us that model in transition era, you have such a nice selection of vehicles in that era. It's getting difficult to find stuff post-war, right, from 40s to 60s, and you've got a good selection. Matter of fact, I just picked up a bunch of them in the mail the other day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that is our most popular era. It surely is. That transition era is, yeah. So we try to focus on that.
well, thank you very much. We're doing real well on time today, so we're going to go right on to our next presentation. Dick Ollendorf is back east somewhere, and even though he's back east, he thinks he's out west because he wants to do the Santa Fe, and his railroad is a Santa Fe. Dick is the guy who puts together the N-Scale Enthusiast conventions every year. He keeps him pretty busy, and he does a great job of it. And from looks for his background, he does a pretty fine job of building a model railroad as well. So Dick, if you're ready to do your thing, we turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you guys. Let's see. You can hear me. Okay. I'm very happy to show you my layout. Not many people actually see it. I'm busy doing other things. But when I retired, I decided, and we moved, so I decided to build a new layout. And one of the things I did was talk to a bunch of people, and they said, find as many books as you possibly can, go to conventions, get yourself, see what's out there. And when I came back doing that, I really was confused, but I did come up with some good points, which were try to keep it simple. Try to keep enough aisle space so you can get around. Make sure you can reach everything. And then when we're talking about eras now, I couldn't make up my mind. And I couldn't make up my mind what part of the country I wanted to do. So what I have is the series of going from one side of the country to the other side of the country. I try to do little scenes here and there. And then one thing somebody told me, which I take to heart, is it's my railroad, so I can do just about what I want to do. Let's see if we can get this working here. See, I got to share here. I want to click this, click that. I want to go screen one. Got that. Are you seeing that?
There's a fellow by the name of Dewey's F21. Need to mute yourself.
It's closer to Buffalo. Since we had to postpone the National N-Scale Convention in Nashville this year, I've been able to make some headway on this layout, including this yard.
Dick,
I have
can
the
you
pleasure
please
of
stop
working
your
with
video?
the Megapoint controllers and fabricating a new type of control panel.
Dick, stop your
This
presentation.
panel allows me to control any yard turnout, or I can do it from my NCU throttle, the panel, or even under software computer control.
Dick, please unmute yourself and restart your video. Thank you.
Razor, were you able to see it at all?
It was working. This is Peter. It was working, but we had some sound interference. So if you could please restart it, that would be great. Is it working out, Dick? Are you getting it?
I think you got to hit screen share again, Dick.
Dick, can you hear us? Dick, Ollendorf. Well,
Okay.
I can hear him. Dick, you should have screen share available.
Can you hear it at all?
yes, we can hear you. We need you to restart your presentation. There was somebody else who had their mic keyed and it was messing everything up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. I'm going to hang up now.
Okay.
Dick, you got to screen share again. He's not working. All right.
Yep.
You're going to have to do the screen share again.
Okay. Is that what the problem is? All
Yeah.
right. Let me go
Did you-
back here. Here. Get this back in here. Go to screen share here. That's in here. Share.
Now you're going.
Okay. We'll spread it apart here. So I can't hear it from my end. Okay. Welcome to my layout. It's basically a shelf layout that runs around the outer basement perimeter with two peninsulas. It's 95% double track main, but all trains must take turns crossing the Buffalo Gap Trestle. Since we had to postpone the National N-Scale Convention in Nashville this year, I've been able to make some headway on this layout, including this yard. I had the pleasure of working with Dave Fenton of Megapoint Controllers and fabricating a new type of control panel. This panel allows me to control any yard turnout, or I can do it from my NCE throttle, the panel, or even under software computer control. We will start our trip today by pulling out of our double-ended yard going east. This part of the layout nobody generally sees because all the trains will have to pass over my workbench. Welcome to Megamport. This is a sleepy seaport town. Remember Amity Island as in Jaws? Please keep an eye out for sharks, especially by any of the buoys. It's for your own safety. The first thing we see is the Donnellville transfer station that doubles as a working lighthouse. Along the docks, we run across some lobster fishermen unloading today's catch. The town had its usual run of stores, including a pulp factory, tobacco store, and the Townsend Brewing Company. We were lucky this week. The circus has come to town. They had their big tent set up and started to assemble the rides. Many of the buildings are kits. These are from Bar Mills, Showcase Miniatures, and Skill Architect, and the Republic Locomotive Works. As we leave town, we pass the Jefferson Point Save Company. If you look at the two inserts, you'll notice this is a working carousel. Yes, the carousel goes around, but if you look closer, you'll see the horses go up and down too. The best part is the lighting. This is accomplished with 240 fiber optics. The fibers are energized by a network of LEDs. I wish I could say I did all the work. I actually did 1%, while Peter Walensky did 99%. Some of you may know I'm a member of the N-Scale Enthusiast Group. Yes, I'm a collector, but many of us collectors also have layouts and modules. I decided to create a display cabinet for some of my finds, but also needed a way to allow the trains to make their way around the basement walls. Part of the answer was making a shelf layout under the display cabinet and call the town Anthonyville. To get by the staircase was another obstacle I needed to overcome. The only answer was cutting it in half, then shortening one side, reassembling and creating an opening. This took a day, but it also did the trick. The ledge along the wall was a bit of a challenge. The bottom half was easy, but the top wall had to be suspended from the ceiling. The bottom half of the ledge was created by planing old oak flooring to represent wainscoting of an old depot. We are now entering Anthonyville. I finally had a chance to use all the DPM buildings I've collected over the years. The entire town is lit, with many of the vehicles having independent lighting systems. Do you see the police car and rescue vehicle? I see the Santa Fe Railroad is having an open house this weekend. Back in the 50s, the Santa Fe had converted some of their passenger cars into educational exhibits. We have one parked on this siding. It's the white passenger car with the atom symbol on the side. This one is promoting energy-saving transportation and energy-producing resources. We are now approaching some crossing gates. All the crossing gates in the layout actually operate. Each operate with their own servo. We are now going over the Buffalo Gap Trestle. On the other side is the home of Robin Hood Flour. All traffic going east or west must take turns going over this trestle. On the right, you can see some road construction. Look for the flashing roadside trailer sign. It's indicating traffic delays for the next 5 miles. There are a few of these in HO, but no one made it in N, so I kit bashed one. Many years ago, I was inspired by an ad by Overland Models showing 2 camelback bridges spanning a river. I couldn't resist adding it on my layout. We are now heading down the Canyon Gorge, passing a dam on our left. I see some white river rafters. That looks like fun. Hey, there's the Santa Fe Chief going west, passing us by. We are now entering the Rockies and find gold and silver mines scattered throughout the mountains. This area of the layout allowed me to create a separate upper level. This upper level connects 3 mines, logging camp, and a repair station. This route has access to a turntable that also allows turnarounds. We have a switchback on the left-hand side. You can see one of the custom climaxes hauling supplies. 2 of the mines are scratch-built, but the one in the upper corner is the famous Rico mine. This was the last kit Bill Benton made in N-scale. The original HO kit was put out as a board-by-board construction. The N-scale version had the sides laser etched to look like single boards. I like the original version, so I covered the entire kit with single boards. My granddaughter calls the mine Katie's Gold Mine. I've always been fascinated with bridges and trestles. The upper level gave me the opportunity to create many of them. The trestles are kit bashed and the bridges are from Hunter lines. I really highly recommend the kits. If you look to the right, under the bridge, you'll see the Gruber Wagon Works, one of our NSE kits. Looks like one of the coaches took a spill as it was being loaded. Hill now. I see our signal is green, so we have a clear shot through our mountain tunnel. We'll be coming out at the McCabe Sawmill. Before we pass by the McCabe Sawmill, let's take a quick look at the lumber camp. There's a lot of activity on top, with Steam Donkey going full bore trying to load some logs. The tricky part of this scene was the rigging on the mainstay and getting it to really work. The McCabe Sawmill has been animated. It goes through a 6-minute cycle representing dawn to dusk, cycling through light sequence and sounds of frogs and, of course, sawmill noises. As we pass the sawmill, check out the semaphore on the right-hand side. It works. Coming around the bend, we passed the Dill Pickle Works. This was a fun project combining several different kits to create a salting station. On the right, we are passing an icing station in case we have a need for refrigeration. Just before the next tunnel entrance, you'll see a yellow depot with a short section of track in front. That's my DCC programming track. The last leg of our journey brings us past the 4 of the 5 Bethlehem, PA blast furnaces. I added an ore unloading dock for interest. On this leg, we passed by many flat warehouse buildings that I've assembled, always looking for some more to fill up the space. On the other side of the tracks, a 4-foot steel rolling mill. At Bethlehem Plant, there were many rolling mills. Before they tore down most of the rolling mills, you could drive for many blocks before reaching the end. What's happening with this project, and confusing me with this project, is the blast furnaces are about 30 minutes from my house. Every time I go down there, I get more ideas. Just before we head into the yard, we will be passing by the Walters DCC turntable. I was able to incorporate the advanced circuit board they offer as an option. I used 2 of the features on this board. The first was an indexing feature that allows me to just key in a number representing what stall or lead track I wanted. The second feature allowed me to synchronize all leading tracks and engine house tracks with the power based on the position of the turntable. Let's talk about what controls this layout. What you're looking at is my east-west yard control panel. This controls 32 turnouts and can be energized 3 different ways: by operating a touch button on the panel, by software control, or as an accessory on my DCC throttles. You can also pre-program any of the blue buttons as a predetermined route. This is like the old diode matrix without the wiring. This is an independent private network that can be interfaced with most DCC systems. Cards and software are all by Point controllers. The rest of the layout is controlled by Bruce Chubbs' CMRI system. This includes block detection, tab control, signaling, and lighting. It was a holdover from my first layout where it was all DC, and I wanted to control individual engines as they moved around the layout. Today's layout is still the basic 7 cabs, but have been modified. One cab provides DCC to any block on the layout, while the other 6 cabs provide DC.
Well, Dick, thank you very much. That's a very nice looking layout. I'm glad you were able to share it with us.
That's it. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
I can't hear anybody.
All right. Can you hear me, Dick? Well, we're going to go ahead and move on now.
Okay, now I got you.
There we go. Thank you, Dick. It's a very interesting layout and very impressive.
Oh, thank you very much.
We are going to go ahead now and move on. As usual, we're into this thing about a little over halfway, and people get tired of sitting. So now it's time for us to take our 30-second break, get a drink of water, stretch your legs, and here in about 30 seconds, we'll turn it over to John Wallis, who will talk about NTRAK 2.0. But first, let's take about 30 seconds and stand up and stretch. Oh. All right. All right, Peter, let's make sure everybody's muted, and then we'll unmute John and let him go to town. Our main
You're muted.
Yeah,
Razor.
when he muted everybody, got me too. Okay. Our main presentation today is by John Wallis, who is the president of NRail right now. And he's going to talk about, I don't know whether you heard that, but we got a lightning storm going on here. John has a different perspective and a different way to look at some of the things we're doing in our NTRAK with our NTRAK modules. And he's going to tell us how that works, and it's some great ideas. So John, if you're ready, take it away.
I'm ready. Let me, well, before we get to sharing screen and start this, it's time for a commercial break. If you read my letter from the president in the latest newsletter, we talked about haberdashery and having NRail caps like the one I'm wearing, an NRail shirt like the one I'm wearing, and also a polo shirt. So these are available. The link is in the newsletter, and I recommend it to you. The other thing that we've been talking about for several months is the FT locomotives. We ordered 100 of these, 50 of them with number 1973, which is the initial date of NTRAK, and 50 with 2000, which is TRAK. We have 5 of 2000s left, otherwise we're sold out. Also in the newsletter, we talked about a sound version of this and where to do it. And I got sound in my FTs, comes across pretty good. Assume you can hear that. Anyways, there's 5 or 6 of these left. All right, let's turn the power off so we don't hear that. Okay, now I'll start screen sharing, and okay. I've shown my own name. I've also shown John Mark Gaduri on here because he is one of the major entrepreneurs, I guess, towards NRail 200. And it's the Eastern End Lines group that really does this, and we do it together. Eastern End Lines, it's a bunch of us, different clubs in the mid-Atlantic area. Our prime show together is Danville each September. The clubs shown in red are the ones that alternate coordinating the Danville show. It's our turn, North Raleigh this summer, or this September, be Lynchburg next year, and then Richmond, and then we'll rotate it around. Now, if you read the article on NTRAK 2000 in the newsletter, I put down a sort of listing of the variations of NTRAK that started out, of course, with 1.0. And I think this covers most of it. There may be a few other things in there, but essentially we've evolved the concept, and now we're looking at the next step, which is NTRAK 2.0. And that evolved from a concept called NTRAK 2000, which was developed by George Johnson. At the time, he was the owner of Deluxe Innovations. Currently, he is the president of N-Scale Enthusiast. And his proposal, and I think it was in N-Scale magazine, when it was in the year 2000. He recommended that the alternate branch track become the standard so that the red and yellow are more like a 2-track main. He recommended the use of Pico Code 55 for a more realistic track, a 6-inch extension to the module size from 24 to 30 inches for scenic realism, and to stop running in circles. You use offset modules, inside corners, 45 degrees, and all that kind of stuff, and adding industry to the alternate blue line for switching and operations. And we've taken a number of these and evolved them into NTRAK 2.0. One of the main reasons we did this was to get rid of the operating pit that we normally have with NTRAK layouts, and that wastes a lot of space. And I'll show you exactly why in a minute. 100% DCC operation. Modules, all our modules, Eastern End Line modules, have the green mountain track. It's desirable, but it's not mandatory for NTRAK 2.0. We use both the blue and the alternate blue lines. We have judiciously placed crossovers so that routing flexibility is there. We use junction modules and balloon modules to stop running in circles, and we put industries everywhere we possibly can. So the concept is totally suitable for operating with or without a dispatcher, and we do both. Okay, the layout at the left is the layout we have planned for Danville this coming September. The facility that we are in is a former Pepsi-Cola bottling plant, and the maximum size layout we can accommodate is 62 feet long by 24 feet wide. And with a normal rectangular layout, there is a lot of wasted space. So early on, we started figuring out ways of saving space. Now, can you see my mouse move? Okay. In this layout here, we have three balloon modules, 1, 2, and 3. A junction module and 4 yards up here, over here, down here, and along the bottom. So this actually is the same layout we used 2 years ago. Everybody liked it so much that we decided to use the same layout again. There was a version, if you read the article in the newsletter, there was another version there. This is actually a simplified version of what we showed in the newsletter. The main yard is the one that's shown in buff up here on the top right. It is equipped with a yard master. We have touch panel turnout routing using Panel Pro, and it is staffed, as I said, with a yard master. The ability, we also have the ability to go upwards through the junction module, which is not normally the way a junction is configured. And using this gives us about a 27 scale mile total run versus around about a 4.5 with a rectangular layout. There is total flexibility of routing with one exception. Yellow and blue tracks coming this way cannot go down here. They have to go around the junction in the normal way. So balloon modules. This is a design. There's more than one design that's possible. But what we have from here is we have red coming around and becoming blue. We have yellow, where you can go to red or you can stay on yellow and climb up to green. So that's one of the ups and downs that we use to give routing flexibility. And here's a picture of a balloon module, and you can see where one of the routes is going up from that point over to here. This module, by the way, is entirely Cato NTRAK. So we don't see too many of those yet, but this one is. Okay, now let's talk about the green colored modules. Fitzgerald Yard is 12 feet long. It's got all tracks: orange, red, yellow, blue, alternate blue, and green. Crossovers is a 6-foot module. Again, all the tracks with one exception. Alternate blue comes in from the left, but it ends at blue. Okay, but there is ability to cross from any base level track to any other base level track in either direction. So flexibility there. Oh, I shouldn't use the wheel on the mouse. Okay, Red Rock Junction started out as a standard junction. We've added over the years orange to it, along with red, yellow, blue, and green. The junction itself, the curved part, has red, yellow, blue, and green tracks, and the extension off the bottom has orange, red, yellow, blue, and green tracks. Normally, so that we can have trains traveling in both directions off of red, the normal direction going down is red to orange on FITS or crossover modules, down into the extension, and then orange back to red. In the reverse direction, we can go from yellow to red on the extension, then red to yellow, blue, or alternate blue on the crossovers. So total flexibility, as I say, with the exception of yellow and blue going from the right downwards. So in general, it's not a true point-to-point layout. It provides for continuous operation, right-hand running on all 4 tracks. You can make it a point-to-point layout. Instead of a balloon module, just put a yard there, a stub end yard or stub end something there. It generates more trains doing more varieties of train activities. It is amazing just how many trains you can run on this layout simultaneously. You've got main line running, branch line switching, classification yard work. So train length itself is not a real issue, but during periods, especially when we're at a show and open to the public, we generally limit freight trains to about 40 cars or so. But we've run as long as 150 car trains but then going through some of the junctions, they actually do delay some other activities. Passenger service, you really want to have some passenger trains to run interference to the freight. Modules with crossovers, the up and down modules, bidirectional running on all tracks. We do that. Modules with stations. The bidirectional running, by the way, we have a few general rules involved in that. With dispatcher controlled operations, we can simulate, not stimulate, but simulate the controlled movement of, trains that share track. And some trains, like passenger trains, would have near continuous authority. Now, one of our members, member of the Richmond Club, is a real life dispatcher for CSX. So he has done a lot to help us set up dispatcher controlled operations. And the total flexibility does require 100% use of digital command control. And address 0 is disabled. So what do we need for NTRAK 2.0? Modules with long and ample sidings, crossovers, and sidings can be yellow as the siding off a red sort of thing. Doesn't necessarily mean another track. Reliable mainline bus wiring, including the ground wire between the boosters. We've done this enough now, especially in Danville, that we don't have any problems with wiring anymore. We can set this layout up and have no faults when we turn the power on. Flawless turnouts is a requirement. Many of the turnouts on our layouts are electrically controlled using various methods, not necessarily all panel pro, but we have the rises and falls to and from the green line in the forms of the balloon modules, and there's a couple other modules. Industries all over the place. Flawless operation of the DCC system. And again, we've done it often enough that that's not a problem. And then something that may become a problem is flawless operation of the auto reversers on the balloon modules. And I say it may become a problem because more and more we're using metal wheel sets on our cars. And the length of the reversing section has got to be longer than the length of the train that has metal wheels. So we're starting to watch that and make sure we don't have any problems. Okay, do you want to experience it? Come on down to Danville in September 25th and 26th. Bring your trains. We don't have any opposition to anybody showing up and bringing their trains and running them. So come on down. Eastern and End Lines have a yearly meeting on the Sunday morning during the Danville show, and we'll be talking about the National N-Scale Convention next year in Nashville. Whether that we as a group can assemble a layout down there, and the other side is there room in the hotel in Nashville to do an NTRAK 2 layout? But maybe you've seen it already. Of course, each year it's at Danville, but in 2010 we did it. We did an unconvention, which included a lot more than just the layout in the Pepsi building. We did the Atlanta National Train Show in 13, the National N-Scale Convention in Roanoke in 14, and Pittsburgh in 16, and Capital Limited in Chantilly. So come and be part of us.
John, is that it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I did have a chance to run both at Roanoke and at Pittsburgh, and it is a lot of fun running on your layout. You can pretty much go anywhere you want, and it's really interesting. I enjoyed it immensely. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's unscreen share. There you go.
Yeah.
And that is our presentation today, and we are right at the 1 hour mark, which puts us right on time. Let's look at our chat list. There were several messages going back and forth early on. a lot of questions to Showcase Miniatures, and they have answered most of those.
Well, let me pick up the ones from the end since they relate to NTRAK 2.
All right, do that.
Long iPad, is that you, Steve?
Pardon me?
The one there about local long cold strain, is that why they make me run after public show hours? I believe that the person who wrote that is Steve Corlew. And yeah, that's exactly why we make you wait. Okay, with 2, are you risking losing some who just want to run trains and may not be interested? Well, you know what the layout is up front. It's DCC. We don't run operations all the time. That will be a set time frame when we do an operating session. So you can simply run trains. A lot of people just run trains. So that's not not an issue really.
Let's see if we get Lee. Are you there? There's a question for you. Lee,
Yes.
will you-
When I originally did it, I was using Flocal paints. On that one that I took pictures of just recently, I was using some acrylic paints actually. And I generally have not had a big problem with lifting the paint off the roads, particularly if you have the paint well adhered to the roads. You have to be a little bit careful with your painter's masking tape, but as long as you don't use paint that's too terribly sticky, I haven't really had too much of a problem with the ones. A couple places where it did, I just painted a little bit of a darker gray paint in the spot where it lifted it off and just said that was a pothole patch.
All right. One of the most important things on here is Showcase Miniatures sent a note that said we would like to share a 10% off coupon code with you all. Enter it at checkout on our website. And the code is ZTNRAIL21. And the code applies to all of their proprietary products. Thank you very much for doing that for all of our members.
Mm-hmm.
And how long is that available? Unmute.
It's available. I don't think we've got a time limit on it. It is a one-use limitation, but yeah, I don't think there's a time limit on it.
Well, we thank you very much for that.
Sure, we appreciate it. Appreciate all our customers.
All right, it looks like all the rest of the questions of Showcase Miniatures have been answered. Are there anybody else have questions that that have not been answered, or question or comments they'd like to make? Okay. If not, let me do this. Let me review that our next meeting is August the 14th, Saturday, August the 14th. Ken Ray Models will be here. They make military models and steel mill models. A lot of World War II and Korea and more modern times pewter castings that are pre-painted and ready to go. Great stuff. And our main topic will be passenger yard design and operations, where we'll be talking about what we like to do here is everything it could possibly be in a passenger yard is there. So you take a look at everything and you cull what you don't have room for, and what's left is what you use. So this is going to present to you everything that you could put into a passenger yard for the operations of a passenger yard. And that'll be our main topic next week. And again, we don't have our layout tour finalized, nor do we have our short topic finalized. So if you have something you would like to share, then please contact us through the website. Thank you all very much for attending this week, and we will see you in a month. Have a good day, everyone.